supporting card, and it kicked off with a 6 furlong handicap, changing colours, your 5-2 favourite. Calling them home was Stuart Machin.
All in. And they're off for the opener on Craven Stakes Day, the Bet365 handicap. 14 of them over 6 furlongs. King's Crown in the noseband was away well. So too changing colours in the raw blue. Grace Angel down the centre in a pale jacket is racing freely. Once More for Luck is tracking the leaders over towards the far side with Ferris in a green and yellow jacket handy. And at the end of a couple of furlongs they cluster at centre to near side. It's King's Crown with a narrow advantage to Ferris. Swift Asset in the black and yellow, Nebworth with the white sleeves. Kurdos in a black jacket, Pinafore on the far side, changing colours now, drifting back into midfield about 4 lengths off the lead as they go through halfway. Away to the right, Blue Light Bay is being ridden along in rear. Should have been a ring. The grey filly, pale blue jacket, is switched to try and close. Far side, the white-faced Cowlef is ahead of Grace Angel. Immortal Beauty is pushed along towards the rear. Once More for Luck is over on the extreme far side as they race down into the dip just outside the furlong. Pinafore in the centre moving through with the nose bandit. King's Crown. Once More for Luck over on the far side is joining in with Cowlef, and it's Once More for Luck who's coming home the stronger here, beginning to stretch on from Cowlef. Once More for Luck doing best from Cowlef. Should have been a ring, ran on late to grab third ahead of Pinafore, King's Crown and Ferris.
Once More for Luck takes the opener, 28-1 for Benoit de la Sayette, Ismail Mohammed and Abdullah Al Mansouri. Second, Cowlef, 12-1. Third, Should Have Been a Ring, 11-1. This had very much a competitive look to it, as you would expect for a race of this nature at this time of year. And Once More for Luck has made a successful 3-year-old debut. We last saw him in action on this very course and distance. That was when he was set an impossible task in the middle park at Group 1 level behind Blackbeard. However, off a mark of 94, he's also shown that that mark isn't quite correct, and he'll get a rise for this. Second up, the Bet365 Wood Ditton Maiden Stakes for unraced 3-year-olds over the straight mile. New Business, a very strong favourite in the market, 5-4.
They're off for the Bet365 Wood Ditton, perhaps by design. Syllabus, grey jacket, slowest to get away from the stalls. New Business on the near side in the blue and yellow began brightly and pushes the early pace along with Tribute in the high clear silks of light blue racing a close second. Orange and Blue in the orange and blue tracks the leading pair at the end of a furlong and a half. And then Passenger, the shades of blue with the white cap, a half length away to Carthab in the Shadwell silks of blue and white. Penzance in a yellow and black jacket, the grey, races with a couple behind. Syllabus in the grey silks is last but one. And Mighty Nebula, white and green, is held up by David Egan as they make progress steadily down towards the halfway point in the Wood Ditton. And at this stage, shunning the near side running rail. It's New Business leading to Tribute. Orange and Blue on the near side, Passenger, and far side Carthab with a stripe cap. The grey Penzance waiting in the wings, followed by Syllabus and Mighty Nebula looking on from the tail of the field. They're moving down inside the final 3 furlongs and the pace beginning to lift. New Business stretching on in front, Tribute still at his tail. Orange and Blue second from the right, ridden along further right. Penzance is asked for his effort as they pass the bushes. Passenger, white cap has been angled out, beginning to close. Carthab on the far side, just running green as they go down into the dip, but beginning to find his stride. New Business in the centre, challenged on the near side by Passenger, who looks to be coming home the stronger here under the Moor Drive. Carthab is giving chase on the far side. New Business, nothing more to offer, and Passenger is stretching away close home for an impressive debut success in the Wood Ditton. Carthab is second, New Business third, then Syllabus and Orange and Blue.
Welcome to racing. Passenger, very impressive debut, 11-1 for Ryan Moore, Sir Michael Start, Flaxman Stables Ironman Limited. Second, Carthab, 11-2. Third, New Business, the 5-4 favourite. The Wood Ditton, while a much heralded race, has often failed to deliver in terms of horses going forward. Here's hoping that Passenger can be the one to buck that trend, because this was very impressive. Market rival New Business was always there to be shot at, having led, and he had no response for this son of Ulysses as he shot past them and made a taking debut. There's more to improve on, but if this was the first effort, I'm looking forward to seeing the next.
So Michael South has just seen Passenger win on his debut in the Wood Ditton, ridden by Ryan Moore. Michael, congratulations. Tell me about this horse going into the race. How far forward do you think he was? Mentally, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, he's very straightforward, and, you know, he'd done plenty of work, and they've been running well. You don't know what your opposition is, but we like him, and it was brimful of promise. So we'll take him back and freshen him up and do some work with him, and then make a decision as to where we go next.
He was a little bit green in the preliminaries, wasn't he? But you could see him getting better all the time.
Yeah, he was fine once Ryan got on him, and he was down the gate. Yeah, no problems.
What trip do you think he'll want?
I think we'll go on a quarter next time.
And was that based on what you saw or something that Ryan said?
Yeah, well, what we've always felt, we thought Wood Ditton was a good starting point, but really he looked as though he would be better at a mile and a quarter. Yeah, and Ryan said, yeah, let's go 10 next time.
And you run the filly Prepence later. What are you expecting from her?
She's all right. She could just do with a little bit of warmth for a week or two, and she'd really blossom. But she's done enough work to run well.
You're seeing that with the fillies all this week, I think, aren't you? Loads of them are hanging on to their winter coats. So I can't let you go, I'm afraid, until I ask you about your 2 Group 1 winners, because the public would like to know. First of all, how is the Derby winner, Desert Crown?
Yeah, he's done all his foundation work, and he's just gone into strong work yesterday.
And does that mean that you're on target for the Brigadier Gerard?
I think we are, yes.
Okay, good. And he's well over the problem. At the time, you were suggesting that the problem wasn't huge, it was just too big of an interruption. Would that be a fair summary?
All's going well now. The athlete's back in strong work.
That's great. And how about Bay Bridge, your Group 1 winner?
Yeah, he's in good shape. He'll either go to Sandown or to France.
So the Gordon Richard or?
The Gannet.
The Gannet, right, okay, right. So you could go quietly or you could go big straight off?
We'll see.
So does that depend on how well he's going, essentially?
No, I'll ring and ask you what to do.
Oh, thank you, Sir Michael. First of many interviews like that this year.
Some nice types have won the Connaught Access Flooring Aberdeen Stakes in the last few years, a Group 3 over the Straight 6. Creative Force was down in grade and his market price reflected that, 13 to 8 on.
They're all in. They're off, breaking out over 6 furlongs, and Jumbie, who has missed the break in the past, more so today. Left trailing, gave them 5 or 6 lengths as Silky Wilkie was the first to break the line, and Jumbie Maroon Jacket quickly making up ground to race in touch at the rear of the field. Pace doesn't look particularly strong, and it's set by Silky Wilkie to the free-going Tiber Flow in a dark jacket alongside Comanche Falls. Creative Force, the odds-on favourite in the Raw Blue, tracks the leading half of the field alongside the Grey Garris and the hands of Ryan Moore, and Jumbie racing firmly in touch on the far side of St Lawrence, who's in the blue and white, and they're just beginning to open up now as they move through halfway, led by Silky Wilkie. Second from the right, Tiber Flow, Comanche Falls on the left. Extreme right, Creative Force breezing into it as they pass the bushes. The Grey Garris is asked for his effort. Jumbie in a maroon jacket is inching closer. St Lawrence is ridden along down into the dip outside the furlong. Now Creative Force is asked to stretch on the near side. Garris, though, on the far side is coming through with Comanche Falls, then Tiber Flow, and it's the Grey Garris in front from Comanche Falls. Creative Force not picking up. Garris by a whisker. Garris inches home from Comanche Falls on the near side. It's more at the double. Creative Force only third, then Tiber Flow alongside Jumbie.
Garris takes the Aberdeen 9 to 1 for Ryan Moore, Charlie Hills and Susan Roy marking a double on the day for the jockey. Second, Comanche Falls 20 to 1. Quickfire double for Ryan Moore. This one aboard the 7-year-old Garros, who connections have had to be patient with over the years. He missed an entire season's worth of racing through injury. Last season, he really started to show what he'd been missing on the track. A highlight being third to Highfield Princess in the Prix Maurice de Geest at Deauville. He'd had some lofty targets since then, at the likes of Champions Day, went down the field in the Champion Sprint, and out in Saudi as well. But he's roared back to form here. This could be a springboard for him.
Well, Charles Hills was talking up Garris when we spoke to him a couple of days ago, and he's gone and won the Aberdeen Stakes Group 3, one better than he managed when narrowly beaten in this race last year. Congratulations, you were pretty keen, and you were pretty confident.
Look, he's ridden him plenty of times. He knows the horse really well, but I was so impressed the way he just picked up. Sort of 2 to 1. He's almost put the race to bed there. He said he maybe got a little bit tired up the hill, but he's a dream of a horse,
Do you feel he's a bit better this season?
Oh, it's hard
Is
to
it
say.
possible?
It's hard to say that. He missed the whole season. I think 3-year-old career. Time never had a run. So Paul and Susan have been really, really patient with him. And he's just a lovely horse to train. Just a pleasure to have him in the yard. And he's probably yard favourite. And he's just such a star, really.
Well, like you, I was just taken with how he just went forward. I mean, the determination down the dip and out of it was superb to see.
Yeah, amazing, really. It's good that he come here last year. And he handles the track and will act on the track. So it gives you a bit of confidence, And like you say, he really just pick up well and he surprised Ryan, I think.
Duke of York entry, would that be next stop?
Well, I've got to look at it. We'll certainly have a look at that. And then, he's got some great form in France. He loves those French tracks, so we could also look at a few options there as well. And whether, just 7 furlongs, I'd love to just try him over 7 as well in time.
Okay. Have you got any particular races in mind? And might you go right to the top level with him at all?
Well, we tried that before and it hasn't really worked, so I think...
You never know.
I know, you never know.
Oh, well, I hope he does well for you this season. It's certainly an excellent second run. Well done.
That's great, thanks. Thank you very much, cheers.
The winning horse is a Goff's horse.
Feature up next, the Bet365 Craven Stakes, a Group 3 over a mile, a trial for the 2,000 guineas of a course and distance. Mysterious Knight looking to stake his claim, 15-8 to do it.
They're off for the Bet365 Craven Stakes. The Rolly Mile ahead of them, a field of 7 led from the stalls by Dancing Magic with the orange cap to Ancestral Land racing on the far side. Indestructible in a violet jacket drops into 3rd place early on, tracked by the grey Mostabshire in the Shadwell Silks. Mr. Mistopheles in a pink jacket at this stage is held up with the Foxes, the striped sleeves just in front of him, and Will Buick has dropped Mysterious Night out just about last of the field and some 4 lengths off the pace setters, who at the end of a couple of furlongs are indestructible on the near side of Dancing Magic. Ancestral Land in a dark blue jacket sits at their quarters, and they in turn are tracked by the grey Mostabshire. The Foxes, meanwhile, on the extreme right is tracking Indestructible towards halfway, and Buick has switched Mysterious Night towards the far side to race alongside Mr. Mistopheles. Dancing Magic leading them down to the 3 on the far side from Ancestral Land. Indestructible on the near side to the Foxes in a striped sleeve jacket, the grey Mostabshire in midfield. Mysterious Night held together the white-faced individual, and Mr. Mistopheles ridden along in rear past the bushes, heading downhill to the final 2 in the Craven, and the Foxes in the centre has come powering through to challenge Indestructible. Dancing Magic in 3rd, Mysterious Night hasn't picked up, neither has Mostabshire. Indestructible on the near side, battling back to the Foxes as they climb inside the furlong. Indestructible and Kevin Stott in front, fending off the Foxes. What a week this has been for Ammo Racing. Indestructible wins the Craven. The Foxes in 2nd, Dancing Magic 3rd, Ancestral Land back in 4th.
Indestructible takes the Craven 8-1 for Kevin Stott, Carl Burke, and Ammo Racing once again with a winner at the Craven meeting. 2nd, the Foxes 5-2, Mysterious Night out of the frame. This was the first run for Indestructible in Carl Burke's establishment. Ammo Racing are just going from strength to strength, as is the man on top who's made a startling start to the season. It's a match made in heaven so far, it seems, and Indestructible looks like he's been going from strength to strength as well. He was set some lofty tasks behind Chaldine twice last time, but he should have more to offer as a 3-year-old. Well, he just saw what he could do there.
Indestructible has just won the Bet365 Craven Stakes. His new trainer is Carl Burke. He did that really nicely.
You'd have to be impressed with it, really. I haven't seen a replay. I know the King Power horse obviously was fairly close to us, but I think there was a decent gap back to the 3rd, and he wasn't stopping, and ran very fresh, bit keen early, but Kevin said he couldn't pull him up after the line, so all bodes well.
And how long have you had him?
He arrived in the yard in January, I think. Pretty sure it was January. He had some great form there last season. And I was just saying to the other guys there that I think looking at him and the way he moves, he would have been inconvenienced on the heavy ground when he was behind Chaldine of Andrew Baldwin. So this better ground would help him. We had a couple of little niggly issues, physical issues that we ironed out, and nothing major, but enough that, in my opinion, he'll come on again for the run, and I think he has to. You know, he's gone in there a bit fresh today, but his work over the last 2 weeks, each piece of work he's done leading into this has been better and better. So I'm convinced he'll pull out even more now.
So it's Guinea's next stop. Were you concerned about the trip going into this?
Initially I was, and I was thinking of Saturday at the Greenham. But, you know, I was talking to Roger O'Callaghan, who obviously stands Kodiak, and he said, well, he's not a typical Kodiak, is he? And he's not. He's a big, strong, powerful, scopy horse. And some of the Kodiaks can be a little bit more set. And when you look on the dam side, there's a lot of stamina there. So once I'd had a good look at the pedigree side on the dam side, I was confident that we would see out the trip, you know.
So you'll be looking forward to the Guineas now. I need to ask you quickly, because you're about to be called up for your prize. Swing Along, we're going to be seeing her.
She runs in the Fred Darling, or what used to be the Fred Darling. She's working very well. Secret Angel sort of franked the work yesterday and ran a good race, and I'd expect Swing Along to go very close. The soft ground she's never ran on, but she's a showcasing, so I would hope that she'll handle that.
Okay, well, I wish you the best of luck with her. Many congratulations with Indestructible. I look forward to seeing you back here in May.
Thanks, Lydia.
Thank you.
7 Furlong Fillies maiden up next. Prepence, who was beaten at 4s on when last seen at Chester back in September, 15-8 to make a winning seasonal debut.
All in, clear from the front. They're off to race over 7 furlongs. Little slow from the stalls, perhaps by design. Prepence with a pink cap, but she quickly moves to race in touch. Spring Dawn last early on in the Godolphin silks of royal blue, as Ortar in a black jacket leads them at the end of a furlong. To the white-faced Britannica over on the far side, tracked there by Shular in the yellow silks, Willow Tree yellow with the white cap, and Decipher in the Sangster silks, the royal blue sleeves. Meanwhile, Prepence is racing a couple of lengths off Ortar as they migrate towards the far rail this time. Widest from it is Time's Eye in the cherry jacket, Queen's Award in the light blue racing towards the rear of the field with the held-up Spring Dawn. So approaching halfway, Britannica against the far rail, wider from it, Ortar in the black silks, the leading pair. Then Shular just shading third to Prepence, pink cap poised alongside Time's Eye. Willow Tree and Decipher next, Spring Dawn being finessed through the field in the royal blue as they pass the bushes. Queen's Award on the right is ridden along. Downhill at this point, Prepence now beginning to inch closer, moves through to challenge Britannica. Out wide, Time's Eye's running a big race, makes a line of 3. Ascending now for the last furlong. Prepence just nosing ahead to Time's Eye. Britannica, Spring Dawn running on, moves into 4th. Prepence has got first run on the field. Britannica is sticking to the task. Spring Dawn is running on late. Prepence being nudged out to make sure, doing enough. A Craven Day hat-trick for more. Prepence, promising effort from Spring Dawn, closing all the way to the line. Britannica in 3rd, Time's Eye 4th.
Impressive stuff from Prepence. 15-8 favourite scores. Treble on the day for Ryan Moore. Double for Sir Michael Stout. Winner for Juddmonte. 2nd, Spring Dawn 13-2. 3rd, Britannica at 9-4. Ryan Moore on fire. And this filly looks at a different type to the one that saw her beaten at very short odds, prohibitive short odds last time at Chester. Maybe she's just needed the time to strengthen up. She still looks like she's learning. She carried her head high. It wasn't exactly clear what Ryan Moore was asking her to do, in her mind at least. But when she got the message, she went readily clear. And while the runner-up has made it interesting, she was away and gone.
It's been a treble for Ryan Moore here on the last day of the Craven meeting. Let's skip through them. Garris, now, is that the best you've ever seen him? He seemed to really drive down the dip really nicely.
He was very good in Deauville last year. He won a group race and ran well in the Maurice de Geest. He's been a lovely horse for a long time, and I remember riding him as a 2-year-old for Jeremy and early as a 3-year-old, and Charlie's done a great job keeping him going, and he's a pleasure to ride. In Group 3 races, he's always very effective.
There was no pace in that race, would it be fair?
No, there was no pace. It was everyone trying to do the same thing, and he got a nice toe and quickened up very well. He just pulled up me the last 100 yards, but I'm very happy with him.
Prior to that, you rode the newcomer Passenger, who won the Wood Ditton. Now, he was quite green and noisy in the paddock, but once you got on board, he seemed to get better. How was he from the point that you were on board?
No, that's right. He was only given a shout when he was in here, but once I was on him, he was all business, and he done everything very, very smoothly. And I couldn't fault what he done today. It was a good first run from him.
And would you be stepping up from a mile to about 10 with him?
Yeah, I'd say 10 wouldn't be a problem.
Okay. And then you've just managed Prepence to get off the mark at the third time of asking. Obviously, she's had a bit of wind surgery. She still doesn't look the most straightforward. Is that her? Did the track, not really help?
She's a bit fresh and she does a few things wrong, but she's got an engine, and when she starts doing everything correctly, she'll get better. She's a very well balanced filly, good moving filly, but big open track probably not ideal. But she's got talent. Hopefully she'll go on.
Ryan, thanks for your thoughts.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Penultimate race on the card, British EBF confined novice stakes over 10 furlongs. Liberty Lane headed up the betting, 9-4 from Majestic Warrior, a long way back, 11-2.
They're off. Jumping out over 1.25 miles, the bet 365 British EBF confined novice stakes on the extreme left, Sea Line throwing his head around, and David Egan anxious to try and find a bit of cover. They're drifting out towards centre to far side at present. White-faced Waipiro with the red sleeves prominent early, with Liberty Lane on the near side in a yellow jacket. The white-faced chestnut Quantum Cat tracks them on the far side, with August in a silver jacket just about dropping into fourth. And then Golden Delight in the black and white settling in midfield ahead of the grey Ibrahimovic, whose upsides Play Actor more in the stripes. Majestic Warrior in the white and red is in the last group of three, with Sea Line, who seems to have settled down now, and Prince Maxi in a violet jacket rounds out the final trio as Liberty Lane now adopts the front running role, heading towards the end of 3.5 furlongs. And it is Liberty Lane leading up at just a modest tempo here to Waipiro, who set the early pace on the left of the group, now a close second. August and Golden Delight towards the right. The grey Ibrahimovic still sitting in midfield. Quantum Cat covered up towards the far side in a mauve and white jacket as they go beyond halfway. Majestic Warrior inching a bit closer, red and white striped cap. Sea Line racing on the far side of Play Actor. Might just see the black cap for Ryan Moore bobbing away, and Prince Maxi remains at the tail of a well-grouped field. Heading now inside the last 3 furlongs, and it's Liberty Lane from Waipiro. August beginning to edge closer, silver jacket. On the extreme right, Majestic Warrior is being asked to close, and he's getting there quite stylishly as well. But Liberty Lane leads passing the 2. Downhill, he's asked to stretch. Waipiro, the red sleeves, is still right there. Majestic Warrior got to them, but has now got a couple lengths to make up. Then August and Ibrahimovic, and it's Waipiro from Liberty Lane as they come inside the furlong, and Waipiro is beginning to stretch on in here under Tom Marquand and is drawing away from Liberty Lane, and Waipiro careering away wins impressively. Liberty Lane in second, close third between Ibrahimovic and Majestic Warrior, some way clear of Play Actor.
Waipiro pops up at 25-1 for Tom Mark and Ed Walker and PK Swee. Second, Liberty Lane, 9-4 favourite. Third, Ibrahimovic, 14-1. 3.5 lengths in it, and this just goes to show how much can change between the ages of 2 to 3. We only saw Waipiro once as a 2-year-old. It was in a back-end 2-year-old maiden a long time ago now, on the 19th of December, so not a strong race. He didn't perform with much credit, but look at what he's been able to do now. Switch to the turf and just a few more months under his belt. Fascinating to see what he can offer going up in trip. The finale was a very tricky handicap to work out over 7 furlongs. Havana Blue, the narrow 9-2 favourite from Harry Magnus.
They're off, breaking out over 7 furlongs, the bet 365 handicap. Slowest to get away from the stall's Bird of Play towards the near side in the green and red silks. Monopolise in the blue and yellow is away well, white face towards the far side. Splitting into a couple of groups here, half a dozen of them racing slightly isolated in the centre, but begin to track over. Monopolise left of the group has the overall advantage, followed there by Chartwell House with the white cap. Rossmore Nation in a black and red jacket. Giant with a black cap is chasing the leaders, with Tarantino, the maroon silk, second from the right, and further right to Bird of Play. Daytona Lady in orange silks is back in midfield with the likes of Zabi and Thunderball. Havana Blue, meanwhile, racing towards the far side, the maroon and yellow. He's racing on the far side of No Go's Dream. Grand Central is back in mid-division with Land of Summer. Harry Magnus in a pink jacket is well back with Novus in the purple and green, and just about last finest leader. They've gone beyond halfway, heading to the last 2.5 furlongs. Down the middle, Monopolise, yellow sleeves and Crimson Cap. Working across the far side, Chartwell Hells. No Go Stream second from the left, coming into it. Further left, extreme far side, Havana Blue. Down into the dip, Havana Blue and No Go Stream now moving through to Chartwell House. Monopolise from off the pace, Harry Magnus, Pink Jacket, but into Fly Home. Inside the furlong, Havana Blue, No Go Stream. Harry Magnus threading the eye of the needle under the Buick Drive. Harry Magnus surging through, getting up. Harry Magnus sees off Havana Blue. Chartwell House down the near side, then No Go Stream and Monopolise.
Buick and Hills teaming up once again. Harry Magnus 5-1 winner, and one more Moment of Madness, a double for the trainer on the day. Second, Havana Blue 9-2, 10-1 Chartwell House in third. Fourth, No Go's Dream at a big price. Buick and Hills had teamed up for a winner on yesterday's card, Orazio in the 6 furlong handicap, and they've teamed up once again with Harry Magnus, whose return to turf has been a triumphant one. He's had to have a bit of guts about him to go through the gap and get up late, but the step up to 7 like last time has been the making of him. The third and final day of the Craven meeting did not disappoint, especially not if your name was Ryan Moore. A treble on the day for him, courtesy of Passenger in the Wood Ditton. Looks an interesting one going forward. Garrus in the Abonant, which was the first leg of a double for Charlie Hills as well. And Prepence, Sir Michael Stout, a double for him. Charlie Hills' second leg of the double came in the last with Harry Magnus. And looking forward to seeing what Waipiro has to offer. A nice winner of the Confined Novice at 4:45.